Welcome back. The South Dakota High School football quarterfinals get underway tomorrow night, so we've got an expert panel here to talk about those quarterfinals. Guys?
Thanks, Kelly. Time to talk about those high school picks now that we're in the quarterfinal round in South Dakota. And to join me to talk more about it, we've got Brian Haenchen, Argus Leader Media, and Craig Mattick, KWSN Sports Radio here in Sioux Falls. So, boys, last round we were all within one pick of each other. We'll see if there's some separation this week. And we'll start in 11 AAA. I don't think there's going to be much separation here. What do you guys think? We're all down with Washington, O'Gorman, Roosevelt, Brandon Valley?
Yeah, maybe Brandon Valley at Rapid City Stevens is an exciting game. It was the first time they played, but the weather is probably going to factor in and dull down a little bit of the Rapid City Stevens passing attack.
Last time they played, Brandon Valley had 5 interceptions against Rapid City Stevens. Don't know if the Raiders are going to be able to throw with the weather on Thursday.
It's going to be tough. Let's move down to 11 AA then, where we've got a couple of quarterbacks that are pending some injuries, maybe coming, maybe not playing. The game that we want to point to, though, is Yankton and Douglas, the 4-5 matchup. Yankton was a big win last week, but they hit the road to Box Elder. What do you guys think about that game? Let's start with you, Brian.
I'm going with Douglas. I think they've played a tougher schedule, a little more battle-tested. They beat Harrisburg when Harrisburg was at full strength in a low-scoring game and sort of dreary weather conditions, so I got Douglas in that one.
I do, too. I have Douglas as well. I mean, their high point was beating Harrisburg, but their low point probably was giving up 70 to Pierre. But it has been kind of a roller coaster ride. I still like Douglas to win this one. But Yankton has not won a game on the road in 2 years. Can they break that streak this week?
I think they might. I'm going to go with Yankton just to mix things up, but that'll be an interesting class. Let's move down to 11A now, where the favorites are, well, the home teams are Madison, Todd County, Dakota Valley, and Dell Rapids. But the only home team really in jeopardy here, maybe Todd County?
I agree. Millbank has played a tougher schedule. Millbank has played some pretty good teams to get them ready. I mean, Todd County over the past years, they've struggled, but this has been a great year for them, but I think it's going to end on Thursday.
Dell Rapids, St. Thomas More is probably a game worth keeping an eye on. St. Thomas More, they've been really rolling along here since they lost to T, and I think it was West Central. But again, the weather comes into play. How does that affect their passing game? If it's at their back, they're able to build an early lead on Dell Rapids. Maybe that swing things, but Dell's is just so big, and that ground attack is so good. It's hard to see.
So 11B, let's turn to. We've got Sioux Valley, the number 1 seed, Sioux Falls Christian, the number 2 seed, Woonsocket, Wessington Springs, Sanborn Central, the number 3 seed. We all agree that they will move on. But that 4-5 matchup, winner is at home taking on Bridgewater Emery-Eaton. What do you think, Brian?
I have Bridgewater Emery-Eaton. That we discussed it. It's sort of a coin flip game. You know, it's really hard to pick a winner there. They do and want to do the exact same thing, run the ball, pound it down your throat. They just do it a little differently. Winner, more of a team approach where there isn't really one standout to key in on. Jamin Aaron has really emerged for Bridgewater Emery-Eaton, especially in the absence of Cole Gassman.
Right, I agree. Both teams have come with adversity. Bridgewater Emery-Eaton losing their star running back, but they've done great since then. And Winner lost everybody but one starter off a back-to-back championship years, and they lost the first game of the year. They're back. They're at home. I'm giving Winner the edge. Dan Aker will figure out something to win that one.
That'll be a good game. Let's move to the 9-man ranks now. 9AA, Gregory, Miller, Highmore Herald, Bonham, and then the 3-6 matchup seems like that's the one that we disagree on. I've got Irene Wakanda taking out Garrettson. What do you have, Brian?
I have Garrettson pulling that one out. I think they control the ball a little bit, neutralize Trey King that way, keeping him on the sidelines, and I think they come away with the upset.
I go with Irene Wakanda. I like the home team. They've had a great year, and I think they'll still win tomorrow night.
Yeah, weather will be a factor across the Dakotas, and we know that Irene Wakanda likes to pass, but I still think Trey King finds a way to get it done as well. Let's move to 9A, where Corsica Stickney comes in as the only unbeaten in this class. Howard takes on Avon. That could be a good game. Howard is the home team there. Warner, the home team against Lyman. And Britton Hecla taking on Canastota Freeman. Let's move on to 9B now, where all season long we've kind of been talking about Coleman Egan as being the favorite in this class. They've continued to do that. Sully Buttes is also undefeated. But the game we want to point to, well, maybe a couple games, but Harding County takes on Colombe. Harding County is unbeaten. Wall takes on Castlewood. Wall is unbeaten, but those aren't necessarily the favorites in this game.
No, I don't think so. Even though Wall is undefeated, again, it comes down to the schedule, and does your schedule prepare you for the playoffs? Wall's schedule really hasn't prepared them for a schedule that Castlewood had. I think Castlewood played the tougher schedule, and I think they will have a chance to. They should win this round.
I had them as well, and then I have Cologne, the defending champs, moving on there as well.
All right, there's our picks. You can look online for all of our picks throughout the playoffs up until the championship game where Craig Mattick will step out because he's calling the championship games. But follow along there and sound off, as always, on Twitter. And you can go to Brian's Facebook page and make your own picks as well.
Argus Sports, get involved.
You bet. Thanks for helping us out, guys, and we'll see you back here next week. Back to you.
All right, great stuff as always. Thanks, guys. Well, speaking of high school football playoffs, that's the subject of today's trivia question. We want to know, what year did South Dakota first use a playoff system to decide state champions in high school football? Think on that one for a bit, maybe do some research, and we'll have that answer for you at the end of the show. After the break, we recap North Dakota basketball's Fan Fest that took place last Thursday. A very entertaining event sponsored by Midco SN. And if you weren't there, make sure to stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Midco Sports Tonight, presented by Andera Orthopedics.